Greetings. I've done it. I've successfully completed the first major step in severing my association with bullet journals by removing all of my tarot spreads from 6 years of bullet journals. I have bound them together in one place, one journal. I now have one journal representing those 6 years of spreads that I journaled about. Now I'm going to share that with you at the end of this video. But first I'm going to show you a little bit about the process that I used to complete the journal. I think you saw me making signatures, building signatures first, but now I'm going to be taking those signatures, preparing a cover to use for that journal, and sewing them in. So I'm going to share that with you today. I have learned so much from this experience, and I'm very eager to share some of what I've learned with you. And I will do that at the end of this video. But of course, the very most important benefit that I received from doing this project was that now I'm going to be able to locate spreads when I want to find them. Now, I've already had people comment to me before I've even finished the project that they're surprised that I had this problem at all locating spreads, because I am a tarot reader. I'm a professional tarot reader. I read for people all the time. I teach tarot to people, so I have lots of spreads and lots of experience with reading. But I want to explain, I don't think I've made it clear, that the spreads that I have in my bullet journals, for the most part, are spreads that are meant for me alone, for my personal use, okay? I have a lot of clients who come to me for readings, and some of them are repeat clients. That's pretty common for me. But I don't think anybody has ever said, Rebecca, could you do the breadcrumbs and moonstone reading for me this time? Not a lot of requests for that. But it was a helpful reading. It's kind of a fun reading to do. I think that reading comes from the Force Enchantment deck. At least I hope it does. That's what it sounds like. At any rate, it's a fun reading. I did it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I might want to do it again for myself, but I'm not going to do it for a client. That just seems silly. Most of the questions that I get from my clients are specific or non-specific. I will just do 9 cards, or I will, maybe do a combination Celtic cross. Something gives you a lot of information. If they have a specific question, I might do like a balanced reading or something like that, but they're just general readings that I usually do over and over again, not anything quite so specific, no matter how much fun they are. So anyway, I do promise at the end of this video I'm going to tell you some more reasons that I really liked this process and the benefits that I received from it. But first, I want to show you how I finished the project. Here are 2 signatures that I am ready to sew into a book. I will take you through a flip through of what I put inside later in the video. I want to tell you that I have them divided into 2 groups. This is general readings that I could use pretty much any deck for. These are deck specific readings. It doesn't mean you have to use a particular deck for the reading, but a lot of these were taken like from the book that accompanies the deck. Spreads that were designed particularly for the deck itself. For instance, I have there's a Counting Crows spread that came with the Murder of Crows deck. You could count crows with any deck, I'm sure, but it just seems to make more sense if you use a crow deck when you do so. It doesn't have to be the Murder of Crows deck. So anyway, I have them divided just for my own purpose. I want to do one more thing before I'm ready to sew these into my cover. But before I sew anything into my cover, I want to get my cover prepared. And that's what I'm going to show you now, what I'm going to use. This is one of my old journal covers. I think this was one of my first ones. It is a mess. It's a mess. It's so dirty. The color is kind of gross. It's very dirty. It's worn. It has some worn places on it. It has this weird engraved thing on it. I don't know what that is. And also, the other problem I have with it is the elastic, you see, it's gone. There's no elastic here. So I could cut that off. I'm going to cut it off or pull it off. But you see there's you know, it's inserted. There's holes here where it's inserted. So when I take that out, there's going to be holes. So I thought the best thing to do, of course, would be to cover this. Of course, I want to cover it. Now it can be covered with anything, pretty much. There's so many methods online that you can find to cover these journals, these old, any kind of an old book. The possibilities seem to be endless, if you have, especially if you have any creativity. But I thought I would, you know, look in my stash and see what I have. And of course, I have drawers and drawers full of linen. And I wanted to say, this is linen. Here, let me put this aside. But I think you might be able to tell. And I really will probably use linen on one of my books. But linen, I wanted to show you for one thing. It has an open weave, what we call an open weave. You can really see in good lighting anyway. You can see a hole, like you can see light through the fabric. If I held that up, you might be able to see light through it. You know, you can, which means there's little holes. You can see these tiny little holes in there. If I went to glue this onto a book, to a cover, if I just wanted to glue this on the way it is, the glue would just seep right through that weave and it would make a mess. And that happens a lot of times when you use something like fabric, that happens. So what people do, the best thing to do is to make a book cloth, what's called book cloth, which is like a book bonded with a paper. I'll show you what I'm going to be using in a minute. But before that, I'm not going to be using linen for this project, another project perhaps. What I'm going to use today is something that is cotton fabric. And what this is, these are that I found in my stash, are something called a quilter's fat quarter. They represent a quarter of a yard of fabric, okay? But cotton fabric is not a yard wide. It is a yard, of course, a yard of fabric is a yard long this way, yard long. But it's wider than it is long, a yard. So it'd be fat. It would start out to be fat, right? So it's usually 36 long, okay? But they're going to take this 36-inch, a yard of fabric that is 44 inches wide, and cut it in half this way, so it's 22 and 22 inches when you cut it in half, okay? So there's your 22, and then if you want to cut that in half again, so that I have 4 pieces, which would be quarters, I'm just using my ruler to make a straight line. I'm not measuring, that's just to make a straight line, okay? This would be, now instead of 36, this would be 18 and 18, okay? So each quarter one, two, three, 4 of this yard of fabric, each quarter of it measures 18 by 22 approximately, and that's where they get this. And the reason quilters love this is because they like to put all these different colors of fabric into their projects. You know, quilts they originated by just being made out of scrap fabric, but a lot of people today don't have a lot of scrap fabric, or they want more different colors, or they want to coordinate them or whatever, make them to go with their rooms or however they do it. So they sell them this way. So anyway, I'm going to use this, but just like we saw with the linen, okay, if I would to open this up, the weave in this is tighter, so it's not like the linen. It's not going to be a big of a problem seeping through, but at that point it still very well might, because it's cotton and it's a pretty lightweight fabric. The glue could seep through if I want to glue that on there. So I'm going to make this into something called book cloth, which is just a cloth that is adhered to paper. It can be treated as paper. You can cut it as paper. It stabilizes just like fusible webbing stabilizes fabric when you're sewing it. If you've ever used anything like that, that you can iron onto the back of your fabric, like to keep it make it stiffen it a little bit or to keep it from stretching. The same kind of thing works when you're making book cloth. I didn't do a very good job taking this out of here, so I'm going to be reinforcing the spine. But right now I need to do first the outside. I do the outside. And to use the outside, I'm going to use this fabric, the cotton fabric that I showed you. That was a fat quarter. And I have applied the, it's lightweight fusible interfacing. And I got this on Amazon. I liked it. You can get this at any fabric store, of course, or probably Walmart or Target or something, but any place they sell fabric or supplies. But I like this because it was 12 inches and it came on a roll. I don't know if you've ever worked with this product before. It's not exactly a permanent, it adheres, but it's not, as you can see, it's not exactly permanent. But it's going to be on there long enough, and it's going to be a nice finish, give a nice finish to the fabric that by the time we're done, it's all going to be covered, the edges will be covered, so nothing's going to be coming undone. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So for size, I just want to cut around so that I have about an inch overhanging the edge so I can fold it in. So the first thing I want to glue is, let me turn this over, is the spine. I'm just going to put a lot of glue here on the spine and get that to stay. And I'm using fabric glue. I'm just feeling so that I don't have enough on the outside to fold over. And I'm just going to do this. Make sure that's about in the halfway mark. Okay. Always have cat hair and dog hair inside your project. And I'm just going to give this a really heavy glue. I'm just going to smooth it in here. And you see, because I have the interfacing in there, I shouldn't get any seeping. I might get some, so I just want to be gentle. Okay. Okay. Now, this is enough to turn over. See, this is all going to be turned over like that. But here, it doesn't really lay very flat, so I'm going to snip that a little bit. Snip into the corners a little bit. Close to the, so that, so I can turn that in that way. And this way. Okay, I can put this glue on here. I'm gonna put on the edge and in here. And put that down there. And then at the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some nice on the edge of the book. Just get a nice lot of glue on here. And the good thing about this is there's no bulk in my book fabric, in my book. Okay, I'm going to do the corners in, and then do not need to have all of this. I'm going to do this. I have this glued in, my corners, everything's fitting nice and tight. I want to take and reinforce the spine like I did before, but this time I'm going to cover, I have the piece of linen. I put the fusible interfacing on the back, and so I can, I'm going to put glue on here, and then I'm going to fold these ends in before I glue it in. So let me do this. I have a little bit of this glue left. I'll use this, but then I did get another one. I found another bottle. This should do me for a while. It's an 8-ounce bottle. But let's see. I'm gonna cover this with glue. And I'm going to put that on there. Try to center it as best I can. As best I can. Put it on rather straight. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little glue here on this end. A little glue here on this end. Do you see that, or am I out of frame? I think I'm alright. Turn that over. Get that edge over nice and straight. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same to this end. Nice and straight. Get this part straight. And then that's going to go in here. And you see when I flip it over, it's going to fit in there pretty nicely. It's going to be down a bit. I want to get that as straight as I can. So I want to glue this area real good and onto the book itself, along this edge in here, along this crease. I really want to get that glued in, like I did, like you saw me do it before. Along both of these edges. Okay. And that's it. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to put glue down here. My overflowing glue. I move that down. There we go. And the same on this side. Now, I didn't get it as straight as I wanted to. It doesn't matter because I still have covering to do on both ends. Okay, I have that glued in pretty well. And I'm going to use this book cloth that I made. Again, I still have some creases in there. I don't know. And I'm going to cut it 2 sides to cover the insides here. And to do that, I'm just going to use, as my template, I'm going to use a signature. Yeah, I'm just going to leave the inside line straight. I think that will behave better there in the spine. So there I have one this way, And then one the other way. This one, just get some glue on the edges really well. And then and I start out here where the design is to make sure it fits well inside. And then I'm going to do the edges, down the edges first. I have chosen two different designs of scrapbooking paper. It's reversible, same design on both sides, to make outer covers of each of my two signatures. These are just extra pages that I can use for sizing if I need to make a template. I want to make signatures to cover. I want these to be the outdoor side covers of my signatures. I have two signatures that I'm going to be sewing into my book. And I want them to be pockets. I want them to have pockets. So obviously you can see they're too deep this way, but I want them to have a pocket. So I'm going to fold up one. I'm going to fold it to be, let me see if I can see how high it can be. I can just make a little pencil mark. I can make it a little bit taller, a little bit longer than the signature, just a fraction longer, and then leave it for the fold. So something that I think fold on that line. Okay. And then I need to fold this in half. Get a nice fold there. And then you can see when I put a signature inside this, it's going to be a little bit too wide. But it fits top and bottom really nicely. Okay, and then I'm going to have pockets, pocket. So I'm going to trim this a little bit. Okay, I trimmed a little bit off each edge, and now we'll see how that fits. That's going to be much better. My cover is dry and it's ready to accept my signatures. So, you remember I made this little template for the signatures already. I'm going to reuse it. It's kind of flimsy because it should have been made on cardstock, but for this it's fine because this is the last time I really have to use it. Before I can use it for here though, I have to mark where I'm going to put my holes here. I can mark them on the outside or the inside. I like to mark them on the outside because I can really better see. This is my spine here. This is my spine. So I want to get them centered here. Remember, I folded this in half, and then I folded each end up about 1 inch. And I made holes there, there. I made marks, which you can see on this side. This side, so I will turn it back that way. Here we go. I just need a small dot. So I'm going to have 2 signatures, right? So I want to see 2 sets of holes, equidistance, top and bottom, straight along the spine. And I'm turning this so I can see with my lighting where they should be. And I think I want one right here. So I'm going to put one here. One here. And one here. And then move it over a little bit. I'm trying to get them. I'm just going to eyeball that. I'm going to estimate it with using, because I want to make sure that it is centered here. So this is going to be here. This one is going to be there. And this one's going to be there. Okay. Now look and see if they're straight on the spine. They look really good on the spine. Okay, so those are going to be punched. And then I'm going to take, while I'm at it, I'm going to take this template the same way, but I'm going to turn it the way I had it for my signatures, this way. I'm going to place it in this side, and I'm going to get my awl, and I'm going to punch the holes in that. So leaving a little bit of space top and bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and punch my holes first. So there's one, there's 2, and there's 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3 holes, and again in this one. All my holes have to match. My signatures, my covers, and my cover all have to match. So 1, 2, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now the one thing I have to do before I sew anything into this book is, well, let me punch these signatures first. I just don't want to go through my table, so I want to punch a hole in each of these. I'm kind of just starting the holes here, making pilot holes. And then I can pick this up and make sure I'm going through the whole thing. Make a nice size hole. Now you should be able to see those holes really well. Okay. Okay, so the holes are in there, ready to sew. The holes are in here, ready to sew. Holes are in here, ready to sew. The one thing I don't have is, this is not a pocket, this is a flop. So all I'm going to do is run a bead of glue down along here. I'm not going to bother putting one here because this is going to be sewn in. So I don't need that, and I don't need the extra glue. So I have to glue the size of my pocket. And to do that, I'm going to go and get my magazine that I glue in. So I'm just, in order for me to glue this, I'm just going to run a small bead of glue along this edge here and turn that up on each side. Hope I don't get too much. This is really coming out. Wait, maybe I should try the old one first. So I don't want too much glue. So just a thin bead along here. Okay, I have my two signatures here that I'm going to be using. I'm going to do this one first. And I'm going to make sure before I sew it into the pocket cover that I have here, I'm going to make sure that I have it, everything's lined up really well. So I'm going to go into the center of my signature, get everything nice and straight. And as you can see, it's not full. We'll look at that when I come back for a flip through when I'm done here. But I want to make sure it's lined up the best it can be. I want to make sure everything, that my pages are as straight as they can be. It's a little more difficult than it would be with new papers, but okay. And I did not put the holes in yet. So I need to use my template, the same template. Okay, and this is the top. This is the top, and I line that up. This time I'm even with top and bottom, and I make my holes to match. One, two, and three. And I'm just going to leave that in there for a minute just to keep it straight. Okay, and my template is only good for like one more time. So I'm just going to put this in here, line that up with this hole, and there we go, and I'm ready to sew. And again, I have my thread, I have my needles, and my needle I've saved with, I want to use the same needle that I use, because make sure that's the same size hole. So I left the thread in there, that's a little trick. And I said I used about, 3 or 4 times. The length here is all I needed. That's really good. And I'm going to be using the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, same as I used before. Okay. I'm going to go in through the center hole, all the way through the signature, all the way through the cover. I'm in the center hole here in my journal. The back set of holes and go out. Okay. And I'm going to go in through this hole, the bottom hole, back in through the signature, the cover, and back into my signature. Skipping, going down out through the signatures. Out through the cover. Out through the signature cover. And then out through this cover. Flopping it around. Back through the same hole as they started. That center hole. Back through the cover. And the go. On the front, the back, nice and tight. And then I'm going to do one, two knots, and then take this one this way. This one this way. Okay, there's one in the back. And then the next one. Alrighty. Let's see if I can do this one better. Okay, now I'm going to go into the top set of holes. Top set of holes. These are just general readings, and I'm going to find my center. And put the holes in. Find my signature. I mean my template. Even it up top to bottom. Take my awl and mark holes. It's the center hole, the bottom hole, and the top hole. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it in there for a second. I'm gonna put this in my cover. Lining that up. Just leaving that for right now. And I'm going to start sewing in my signature. So first I'm going to go through I need everything here. I'm going to go through my center hole, my signature, coming out the hole in my template, in my cover right there. And then I'm going to go out the hole in my cover right there. Wait, let me do this first. I'm going to pull through here first. Right. Then I can tie this hole. Right there. Okay. Then I'm going to go in through the top hole of my cover. Let me do that first. I just want to get that in so it's nice and cleanly in. Make sure this is tight. Then I'm going to go in through my cover of my signature and clear through. There's a nice hole, so that can go through nicely. Again, making sure that is tight. Check it on the back. It's nicely in. Skip this hole and go out through the bottom. And I'm just going to go through the signature first, signature pages, then out through the cover. And throughout this whole the cover. Okay. And I'm going to go in through, back and through the center. So I'm going to go back in through the center hole. And I'm just come up beside there. Back in through the into this cover. And then back into the signature. And then when we're through on either side of the center string, I'm going to tie a double knot. And there we go. I just like to tuck this on either side here. It's just a habit left over from when I did Coptic stitch. For some reason, I did it that way. And once I did it, I do it. And then I just cut that off. And I'm done with my needle, so it goes in there. And I'm done with my awl. Cord goes back on so I don't stab myself. And there you have it. It's my new tarot spread journal taken from my old bullet journals. I took all the tarot spreads out, I organized them. This first signature is just general spreads, information that you can use with any tarot deck, basically. And the second signature is specific to decks. It doesn't have to be the deck, use that deck, but a lot of these were readings that I took out of the little books that came along with the deck, okay, that I really liked. Some of these I really liked. The tarot spread, it gave a good reading for me. So, and some of these you'll see I have marked with the YouTube symbol. That just means that I have a video that I have done on this, using this spread. I have pockets in the front and back of each of these signature covers, and the reason I have that is that I have some things that I took out of the journal. Yes, some of these pages that I did not do yet. I'm going to make a decision on some of these spreads, whether I want to include them or not. Here's a reading that came out of the Enchanted Forest that the Forest and the Enchantment Tarot deck that I liked it. I liked the reading. It's called Breadcrumbs and Moonstones. I'm not sure if I'm going to include that or not, but I will take this in the meantime. These pages. Here's also the Owl's Advice, which came out of that, out of the book that accompanies the Forest and the Enchantment. And since these are deck-specific cards, I will just take these and I will fold them each. And I will tuck it in the pocket that goes with my, in the back here that goes with my deck-specific readings, okay? So sometime in the future, I will make a decision whether I want to include those or not. And if I do, I will put them in, okay? Same goes for general spreads. If I have general spreads up here, or I come across one that I like to do, I will have a place to tuck it for the future. So I don't have to take time to do it, because that's one of the things, time was my enemy when I was trying to keep up with my bullet journal. Okay, I just want to take you on a really quick walkthrough just to show you how I did this. Can you see? My light is so bad in here today, I don't know why. Okay, here I have some information about using a significator. Here's some information about using a 9-card spread, some things to remind me. Here's interviewing a deck. Here was a checkup on health that I got from the Nicoletta Ciccoli tarot. I just have pictures of these that are going with the decks, different decks, because these are really taken from readings that I did. Because I thought if I ever redo it, like here's the winter solstice that I did with the Force and Enchantment. And I didn't write the reading, put the reading here, but I did write, here's how we do the questions for the spread. But when I do it, if I want to do it again in another winter solstice, I can sort of compare. It's sort of interesting to me what cards I got then and what cards I would get now. Okay, so here's one specific for the solstice. Winter solstice, here's specific for Yule. Using the Green Witch Tarot. Coming into balance at May 1, which I do every year. This is good. I did this one with the Shadowland Tarot. But where I have, and I did a YouTube video on this. This reminds me if I want to go back and review how I did it, because you know I forget sometimes too. I basically deal out a card representing each of the elements: the earth, the air. I start with air, fire, water, earth. Okay, and then those show the areas of my life that may need balancing as May 1 comes. And then I put 5, 6, 7, 8. I put 4 more cards out that then will show me, reveal what can help me bring those cards into balance. Okay. Here's an end of the year check-in with the Wildwood, connecting with fairies. Here's a happy birthday spread with the Druid Craft I did this for my husband a couple of times. I've done it for me. I've done it for some of my children. Yule, something I did, another one for Yule. Here's the pentagram spread. It's sort of the same time. The same thing as the elemental, except this is including the whole pentagram. So we have the 5th element of spirit involved in this spread. Here's Lammas, another really fun one I did at Lammas. Here's an April showers. We made flowers with the Crow Tarot. Here's another elemental cross. This one includes spirit in this one. This is not just looking for balance. This is just a checkup on all of the elements. Summer solstice spread using the Mary L. I have a chaos spread, which I really thought was fun, using the Shadowland. So some of these are shadowy readings and some are not. Some are good for shadow time of the year. I have them included all in here. I don't have anything specifically for just working in the shadow at this point. I might in the future, I'm not sure. This is an oracle spread, the Alwyn spread, looking for the seeds of inspiration guiding your life, which was from the Druid Plant Oracle, and I really, really like this. It shows the past, present, future of ideas, emotions, and manifestations. It just read really beautifully, particularly with the Druid Plant Oracle, which I'm very fond of. So I did that one. This is about the murder of crows at harvest, and also some information about the masks that they wear in this deck that adds a little bit to the reading. This is something that I did using the Bloom, the Blossom spread in the Wisdom Keeper Oracle deck, which was kind of fun to do. The Lunatic spread from the Deviant Moon, always a fun thing. Raven's Prophecy, I just did this not too long ago. I think I did it on YouTube. I don't have it marked, but I think I did. It's a 10-card reading. Here's a Bonfire. I have done this one, I'm sure too, and I don't have it labeled. But it goes this way. With the Bonfire Tarot. And cleansing by fire. The Shadow of My Smile from the Shadowland. This was from the back of the book. Really a fun little read. Here's the Cat's Eye Tarot. And this is one, I really have not done this. I have not done it to my knowledge. I may have, but I think this is something you might look forward to me doing in the future. It's the Cat's Eye Tarot 9 live spread, and I think that's the only spread that they recommend in that booklet. It's just a little white booklet that goes with the deck. But what they have is they talk about a cat has 9 lives. The first 3 he plays, 3 he strays, and 3 he stays. And it has a little, that's a proverb, and it has a little bit of how that relates here, and we can relate that in a tarot reading, which I think I will do this in a reading and explain it because it's kind of fun. But it's a 9-card reading, a specific 9-card reading. And again, I have empty pages in the back, okay? So this was really a great success to me. I really, this was a big, it was a pretty big project. I didn't do the greatest job that I could have on these journals, but I learned a lot, and I'm ready to tackle a bigger project. And there you have it. Not that impressive, I'm sure, but to me, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with myself and how much I learned. And I'm really excited. I can't wait to start on my new tarot journal next year. I'm really excited. I'm very excited and very moved. And also, I'm very excited to do another project that you're going to get to share with me in a while. So that's coming in the future. Something's coming in the future. But what I want to say to you today is now I've learned a lot, but I have learned more than I thought I would from this process. A couple of things kind of surprised me. Okay, and I'm going to share those with you right now. Remember, for my illustrations in the book, I actually used cards that I had used in the readings when I had done them. I didn't actually write up the readings in this book, but I have the cards there for purposes of comparison. If I ever want to do the reading again, I can look back and see. It's interesting to me what cards I might have gotten in past readings. Other than that, though, I didn't think there was going to be anything else to it until I started working with the pages, and I saw a couple decks particularly that I really don't work with, because I really don't, they just don't work for me for whatever reason, or I didn't think they did. And I've spoken about some of these decks before on this channel. One might be the Tarot of the Animal Lords, I think it's called. It's the deck that has the animal heads stuck on people bodies, which then always kind of, I found a little off-putting for some reason. I don't know why, because I do like animal decks. That just wasn't them being animals, it wasn't being people, it was just some kind of weird thing. But I saw a couple readings, and one particularly that I added to my journal here, using that deck, and I was recalling what a lovely read that was. It read really well for me for some reason with that deck, and it read really well for me for some reason with the deck. So I might be encouraged to give that deck another try in the future. Okay. Another one that kind of surprised me was the Nicoletta Ciccoli deck. Several times I used that, and that she shows up. That deck shows up in readings in my new book, and I don't really use that very often. I don't know what it is. I'm charmed by the illustrations, by the artwork. I'm charmed by it, but I just can't get my. They don't seem to match up with the meanings, what I think of the meanings. And I think I've said that before. I think other people might have said the same thing. But it's reminding me how charming the reading looks. How it looks like it should do. It looks like it should do better than it actually has for me. So I'm not going to give up on that. I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to really try to do some more work with that. So that was kind of an advantage for me. Okay. Another thing is, just seeing the cards laid out page after page after page of these different tarot spreads using different decks, I could see right away energy of cards. I mean, of course, I'm very aware of the energy of each deck, but I could really see them and compare them with each other, and how perhaps some decks that I used for that reading really did not go, it really did not do justice to the reading. They really did not, and they were maybe not appropriate for that reading or that spread, maybe to do it another thing. So I learned to pay a little more attention to that, because particularly when I read for clients, sometimes I have clients who really love a deck. They see me share a deck, and then they want a reading with that deck. Well, I'd love to give them a reading of the deck, but I'm too easily led by the questions they want to ask about the deck, which don't always, that deck is not always so good for that. So that's reminding me I need to be a little more mindful of that, and try to share that with my clients. I connect with ancestors a lot. I saw that come up a lot, ancestor spreads. A lot of the spreads have been taken out already and used. I have another journal just for my work with ancestry work, but some of the things are still here in the book. And I was reminded the different ways, all the different ways that we can work with ancestors. That's one of my favorite ways to read, but I do different things. There are some times that I want to just check with the ancestors, if the ancestors have any advice for me or any particular message for me, generally. But if I'm asking for a good message or messages from just ancestors in general, I will use the Santa Muerte a lot. That's really what that deck was designed for. But sometimes I just want to know, I just want to get some more general read, and so I will use different decks for that. Particularly the Green Witch is really good for that. The Wildwood is good for me for that. Also, there are ways that I will connect with ancestors that I just want to, maybe I have no questions, maybe I have a feeling that somebody's trying to contact me and I just don't know who, so there's another method of doing that. I'm reminded of all these things when I was putting them together, and I didn't really make an ancestor section. I didn't really need to, because I don't have really that many spreads to worry about, but it just is reminding me about that, and I can see it when I look at the book, that if somebody wanted to connect with their ancestors in whatever way, there's a different way to do it. There's choices of how we do it, where sometimes I don't think of that. I don't, another thing I want to say is, I appreciate the aesthetics of my cards so much more now, seeing them taken out of the bullet journal, the coldness that is the bullet journal to me. All the washi tape in the world, and all the stickers in the world, and all the colored markers in the world just don't make some things special in your bullet journal. I mean, some of the chores you have to do in the week, or some, paying your bills, or all those things. It doesn't matter how you dress it up. It's, you can't, it's like putting lipstick on a pig, somebody calls it. You just can't make it beautiful. Of course, I kind of think pigs are kind of beautiful, but you know what I'm saying. But the aesthetics that we're so attracted to of tarot cards, those of us who are, some people don't care too much about it, but others, those of who I love a beautifully illustrated deck, and I really think taking them out of the everyday, mundane bullet journal atmosphere, neighborhood thing is really a preference to me. So I can't wait to get into a real tarot journal and really make it beautiful. Make the beauty of the cards sing in the journal themselves. Okay. So in the future, in conclusion, in the future, absolutely, I'm going to have a tarot journal specific to each year. I've already talked to you a little bit about that. And when I do set it up, trust me, you will be the first people to see it. Because I'm really excited about it. I mean, I'm not excited for the year to be ending and the new year to come, but I'm really excited about getting started on some of that, and trying to imagine ways that I want to make it as enjoyable as tarot reading is to me. And I think that's the bottom line. I love tarot. I love teaching it. I love reading for myself. I love reading for other people. I love cards. I love handling my cards. I love looking at my cards. I love displaying my cards. So of course it makes sense. And I don't know why it took me so long to realize I need some beautiful place to put the beauty of tarot together in one place so that I can enjoy it. And hidden away in the dark, dusty corners of my old bullet journals just was not the place to enjoy it. So there you have it. There you have it. If you watched to the end and saw this, oh, thank you so much. If you didn't, you won't hear me, so it doesn't matter, does it? Okay. But anyway, if you're still here, I am so grateful for your input and your loyalty and watching me and being patient with me as I go through all these weird things in my life. And as always, I am Rebecca, and I wish you many, many, many blessings.